God damn it. Hello, everyone.
Damn it.
God damn it. I feel like I haven't been on a podcast in forever.
You have not recorded a podcast in quite a while,
I know.
actually.
It's
Maybe
been
like a
probably
month.
almost close to a month, I would say.
Yeah, I'd say that too. You weren't on the last 2 episodes.
I mean, to be fair, Jeremy
That
and
was
I...
by choice.
Jeremy and I just showed up here, and we were like, let's talk about Spider-Man. We grabbed the mics, and...
Brittany isn't here. It's our chance.
Yes.
We talked for 2.5 hours.
Jesus Christ.
The final cut wound up being like an hour and 50 minutes, but as a result, it was 2 episodes of the podcast instead of 1.
Yeah.
But I will say, last time the 3 of us were on the show, guess what we forgot to do?
What?
The only thing that we do on this podcast, instead of
Argue?
starting with "God damn it, hello," we started with Brittany laughing and then Jeremy going, "It's really not funny, Oliver."
I don't even remember what they're talking about.
I just want to interject real quick. God damn it, hello.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Hello.
Thanks,
God-
Oliver
God
and
damn it.
company.
Hey, I do apologize. We have our first in-person guest
Foursome.
ever.
This is the first
and
foursome.
It's Mark.
Yeah.
Yep, we've had a one-some and a two. Well, we've never had a one-some on this
one-some?
show.
I don't.
Fan-
I guess the 10 years the 7 years I did this before Jeremy was a one-some.
The fan foursome.
Then when Jeremy jumped in, it was kind of like a twosome, but JJ was here sometimes. And then it became a threesome when we started the podcast.
With me.
And now Marco makes it a foursome.
A fan four stick, if you will.
A fan
Well, I guess
foursome.
when we...
We
Oh,
do
I
need
shouldn't
to
say
have
that
a
about
name.
Colin. I don't know how old Colin is.
We're a group in this 4 of us.
Colin is 19.
Colin is 19.
19.
We had a foursome with Colin also.
Not in person.
Not in... Well, it was a virtual four. It was like
In
foreplay
person.
because we were talking about the Fantastic Four.
Yeah, the play, Fantastic Four.
The foreplay. You know what's funny about Fantastic Four is Theo, my brother, if you don't watch the show, texted me the other day, and it was like late because sometimes he'll text me like random questions like in the middle of the night. So he sends me, who should play the Invisible Woman in the Fantastic Four? And I sent him, I don't know the actress's name, but I sent him back the girl that plays Debris on Arrested Development. And I sent him that GIF of like, that's the girl that the homeless woman he gets to play Invisible Woman in the play. So I sent him the GIF of her in the Invisible Woman costume with the homeless sign, and he sends back, "Who is that?" And I wrote back, "It's the Invisible Woman."
Sue Storm is the Invisible Woman's name,
Sue
right?
Storm
Yes,
is the
that's her
Invisible
name.
Woman.
I also want to say that I really hate that you say GIF, and if you say it one more time, I'm going to punch you in the face.
I agree.
It's okay. Listen, it's giraffe, not giraffe.
It's
Okay, but it's also-
Guardians of the Galaxy, not Jardians of the Galaxy.
That's a GA, not a GI.
GIF is an acronym, and the first word in that acronym is graphic.
I don't
Grr.
care.
Giraffic.
Griff.
Nah.
Hippogriff.
You're wrong, Oliver.
I disagree.
You guys are arguing for the same side, but you're arguing against each other somehow.
Sorry, we're on
What?
the,
He
we're on
says
the right
GIF,
side.
right?
Oh,
No,
he said,
Jeremy-
yeah.
And I say
okay.
Jeremy
GIF because
Yeah.
it's
says
graphic.
you guys are all wrong. And I think it's more likely that I'm right and you guys and everybody in my life is wrong.
Sweetheart, I have a question. The same question I asked you the other night when I decided that it was Ray Liotta in the table read of Fast Times at Ridgemont High, and you were vehemently against that. What did I ask you?
You said, wow,
No.
where did you learn
No.
so much about
No.
Ray Liotta?
No. I said, when are you going to realize that I am always right? And he said, yeah, I know.
Well, in this
It's not
case,
really when.
So it's
this
GIF.
one, I got this one.
GIF.
Giraffe.
You're a giraffe.
The word is not giraffe. Like, why? Where are you even pulling giraffe?
GI. GI
That's
together.
his only
And
argument.
no, and again,
Yeah, but the
Stupid,
consonant,
bad,
the consonant
bad
after the
argument.
consonant after the vowel does change the pronunciation of the vowel.
yeah, so GI
The
would
consonant
be
after the vowel, not before. After.
Oh, you're assuming that the English language abides by all rules of logic, which it does not. So.
That's true. There
That is
are
also true.
There are more exceptions than rules.
Woodchuck.
So, welcome to Ja Damn It Hello.
That means nothing.
Wait.
It's just words. You could just say words.
Are you laughing at Woodchuck or Ja Damn It Hello?
God
Woodchuck.
damn it, hello.
Jai Courtney.
Welcome to Jai
Woodchuck.
Damn It
No,
Hello.
it's
Palm
Guy
tree.
Courtney.
Speaking of
it's Guy
Jai Courtney, you know what's cool?
Jai Jai Courtney? Who are you?
It's Guy
No,
Courtney.
Fuck Jai Courtney.
Sorry, it's Guy.
It's Guy Courtney. Boy, if you're an audio listener, I know I say this every week, but go fuck yourself. If you listen to this show with just the audio, I don't know what you're doing. Look at all the fun shit.
There's
you're
literally
missing out
no
on.
visuals happening. It's just words that we've been saying.
Yeah, but
and
if you're listening
it is
to
just
this,
words we've been saying and laughing at. There are no special.
If you're
visuals.
listening to this with just audio, you're really just listening to a track of people fucking cackling.
Scuba Steve.
and if you're watching it, you're just watching a track of people cackling. It's
Do
there's
you watch the track?
who cares?
Okay.
Okay,
You are very sassy tonight. No more sassy.
I make no promises.
Yeah, super sass. I haven't seen you in 7 months, and you've been nothing but sassy.
Guys, we're all in the same room.
You went on a
this one. It's not
5-minute
just me and
rant
Jeremy.
about how I was mad about her throwing the knife in the
Way
sink.
less than 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
Way
We'll
less
get
than
into
5
that
minutes.
very soon. Don't worry.
You know what is cool though? Speaking of Jai Courtney, not cool that he's in the movie, but I'm so excited for the Suicide Squad. And the only reason I bring it up is because they put out those new trailers.
Is it called The Suicide Squad?
It's called
Yeah.
The Suicide
Like the
Squad. I
Batman?
heard the
Got it.
Batman,
Yeah.
the Facebook.
The
But you know what? So James Gunn's been putting out a ton of cool shit about it. There was that cool lineup that he did where they were all cartoons. It looks like a real comic movie, like a comic book set to movie form. But what's not cool is that apparently he's written his own HBO show, like spinning off from the Suicide Squad. First of all, before the movie comes out. But it's about John Cena's character.
Oh, of all of them, it's got to be John Cena.
I just really,
Is it
I just
also
really
true?
Don't like him.
He's not like he's just John Cena. He can't be a character. He's just the man.
Yeah, he's just a guy.
Is it also true that it's gonna have a hard R rating?
Yes,
I
they
hope
did
so.
confirm that. The guy who played Rick Flag in the first one came
He's
out.
amazing, by the way.
Oh yeah, he's awesome. It's such a bummer because that first movie had such a great cast, and the movie was just fucking shit. But yeah, the guy who plays Rick Flag came out in an interview, and I guess they've been playing that close to the chest. But he went out and he said, "Yeah, this is the first hard R rated comedy that I've ever been in." So I
Okay.
guess it is a hard R.
I'll give you a hard R.
Makes sense. It's James Gunn.
You know, guest star of the show was going to be Steven Tyler.
What?
But
Guest
not
star of
actually.
the show.
I'm just trying to think of people that we shit on this show. John Cena being one of them, and the other one
Where did
being
this?
Steven.
Where did
The
this
guest
come
star
from?
of the John Cena show, Jeremy,
I'm not sure either.
because Brittany's got the history of hating John Cena, and we talked about that. I guess I'm the only one that watches the goddamn podcast.
No, I know your history with Steven Tyler.
Yeah, he spat
Yeah, we
on
did
you.
a whole episode about it. They
It
were
just
both
seems to
in
come
the
out of
episode.
nowhere that you're
Well-
like Steven Tyler's going to be on our show
fuck
one
you.
day.
No, he's going to be on the John Cena show for the Suicide Squad. God
Okay.
damn it.
We
Anyway,
didn't even set up that we were doing a John Cena show. You just
No,
said
we're
Steven
not doing a
Tyler's gonna
John
be on-
Cena show. I said John Cena is going to be on an HBO Max series about the Suicide Squad. Then I said, also,
5 minutes later.
yeah,
This is a fucking
feel free to
mess.
cut all this out. By the way,
I'll think about it.
Jeremy's never cut anything out of this show unless one of us drops an offensive word.
Yeah.
That's true.
Or we talk about pirating shows.
No, he never cuts
Oh, you
that
don't
out.
cut
So
those
if
out?
I say, Jeremy,
They
I'm
do
going
this
to go
all
online.
the time. They encourage
not that
our
I
listeners
would.
to do illegal activities, and I
Yeah, like-
ask them to stop every time.
like
and
doxing us. Right?
Apparently, the things I care about are a joke to my friends. So
You know what's funny is that actually is a common theme on this show.
my
Frequently,
laptop just went
if
off.
anybody's ever noticed,
logged out. So.
listen, the number one thread that I hear people enjoy on this show is they're like, "Oh, you're so mean to that guy," and he gets so sad about it. So hopefully that's a good thing. Then people say it's funny.
It's funny because Jeremy, I think, truly thinks that we don't care about, or like we think that the things that he cares about are funny somehow, when it's not. It's got nothing to do with what you believe or how you are as a person. It's just got everything to do with the fact that you get so upset about it. That's what we think is funny. Because
Listen, the fact that I can sit here and go 1, 2,
Squiggly
do.
do.
And Jeremy gets so mad every single time. And it's like, look, I know I have like a 6th grader's IQ.
But I love that about you. You keep us young.
Jeremy doesn't love it though. Jeremy says, "Man, I wish Oliver would learn how to count to 3." No, but I'm just saying, you hate me, and I'm sorry that that's the case.
No, it feels like you hate me.
No, I definitely feel like Jeremy hates us. As like a
I
whole.
feel like I'm the victim on this show.
That absolutely not.
Listen, all I'm saying, let's take the start of the last 3 episodes. Okay, no, we had a good old time talking about Spider-Man.
Yeah, so it's me. I'm the variable.
No,
here.
it's not you.
It is 100%
No, because
me.
when we had Patrick on, Jeremy, I said that I wasn't intense, and Jeremy stopped the show to go, "You think you're not intense?"
He started a podcast where the beginning of it is him screaming, "God damn it!"
You helped me.
I'm
did
just
this.
saying that was your idea.
You did this.
You did this. Yeah, so there was that one. Then in the last show, as previously established, it started with Jeremy going, "I hate it when you do that." And then there was the one where we had the whole argument about if I'm notoriously stupid or if it's a bit. Both are true. I am notoriously stupid.
But only for a bit.
Only for a little bit. Not that long.
It's always me cackling. I think that's the problem because I really do sound like a witch.
Well, it is pretty close to the spoopy season.
It is close to the spoopy season.
I would
yet,
say
though.
this will be the first spoopy season show.
Yeah, which I think is gonna be a very nice what?
Never mind.
What?
Not
Speaking
until
of Brittany, speaking of a witch,
Yeah. Okay, so it's no surprise I lost my job during this whole bullshit, and I have had a lot of free time on my hands, and I started drawing on Procreate on my iPad, and I am not an artistic person. I mean, I was in art club when I was in 6th grade, but we only had to draw like a picture of our shoes, so it really wasn't like that big of a deal. But I do really enjoy creative stuff, so I actually picked up drawing on Procreate, and I have now started making some of my designs into stickers, as Jeremy is showing you, and I can show you on mine. These are the 2 that I have so far as stickers. So I have this little spoopy kitty with this little spoopy scene behind her, and a witch, and, you know, bats and all that stuff. And then I have...
That one's my favorite.
Yeah, that one's good. And then I have Flounder, and Flounder is saying that he's not a guppy. And, I mean, who doesn't love Flounder? So... But, like, I've done a bunch of designs, and this will be a nice segue now into our next topic. But yesterday, Oliver and I watched The Shining because we're going to Colorado next week. And we're actually going to go visit the Stanley Hotel, which is where The Shining was.
You mean the Overlook Hotel?
No, excuse me. It's called the Stanley Hotel. And then I can show you guys real quick what I just made. And Oliver said he wants to get it as a tattoo, but we'll see if that actually happens. But if you're familiar with The Shining, I have... Nope, that's not it. Sorry.
Yeah, put the nudes away.
It's not nudes. I have done this drawing. Do you see it?
I see it.
Awesome. Yeah, I've done this drawing, which is from The Shining.
We gotta prep these before time. I wish I could throw... I'm sorry, everybody. I wish I could throw them up on the HDMI.
I'll just describe it for our audio listeners, but it's basically a drawing of Shelley Duvall. Half of her face, and then the other half is a knife that says Red Rum, and it's got the pattern from the carpet.
It'd be real cool if, not that I'm throwing shade at anybody, but it'd be real cool if for the next bunch of podcasts, because I do want to change up the Spotify illustration at some point. It'd be nice if the person in it looked like you.
Yeah,
I don't want to throw shade. I don't want to dig on the guy, but
it's a very good drawing. Yeah,
it's a cool drawing. I just unfortunately really don't look like myself. I looked like myself like more now, I guess, in that one than I did when we started. But yeah, I might work on a new thumbnail for us.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I have a couple ideas.
I really like this cat.
Thank you.
And you know that I like it because I'm not going to put it anywhere because no place will be special enough.
Oh, well, you could totally put it somewhere
because
I can give you another one if anything.
Are they able to endure weather? Or?
Yeah, I believe they're the same ones.
I was going to say because I want to put them on the van.
Yeah, they're the same. It's from the same place that Patty gets his stickers from. So if Patty's are weatherproof, then so are mine.
Shout out to
Points East. who was the one that gave me the recommendation
Who
first
also-
for Sticker Mule, which is where I got these made. They're not endorsing me or anything like that, but I just really like their work. The stickers are nice and thick. And yeah.
Well, this seems like as good a time as any to do the plugs. Do you know that Points East is also the person who designed the logo for this channel? This
Yeah.
one right here. So if you want to check out some cool surf-related stuff, you definitely head on over to pointseastsurf.com, right?
I believe so.
Yeah,
and he
everybody
also
who I ever
does
plug hates me. But
yeah, and he also does commission graphic design as well, which is how he did our logo.
yeah,
for
and
us,
he's
so.
just very talented, makes very good quality stuff. I wear his stuff on the podcast all the time. I don't have any of it on right now, but besides the point. But anyway, did you also know, Marco?
Yes.
Okay. Did you know that it is so easy to listen to this podcast?
Yeah, Marco, did you know that?
Do you know how
is it?
easy it is to listen? Look, you could anywhere. Where do you listen to your podcasts, Marco?
I listen to them primarily on Spotify.
Okay. Well, we're
Well, what
on.
do you know? We're on
Spotify.
You
God
are?
damn it.
Yeah.
We're on.
We are on
Wow.
Spotify.
Now, Marco, pretend for a minute. Go ahead. Say, I listen to my podcast on Apple Podcasts.
I listen to my podcast on Apple Podcasts.
Oh,
Well,
well,
that's so
good
funny because our
news.
podcast
Wow.
is on Apple Podcasts.
It is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, basically anywhere where podcasts can be listened to except for SoundCloud. And quite frankly, that's only because we're too lazy to upload.
It's fine.
and
You
we
guys
gotta
aren't
go back to
SoundCloud
the
rappers. You're
backlog.
fine.
I don't need to be a SoundCloud.
it
I
will
was
be
going to say
on-
SoundClown. SoundClown rapper.
It
Basically
will
what
be
they
on
are, they're
SoundCloud eventually. But you can also get a really cool video version of this show if you didn't know that. And you're one of the 8 Spotify listeners versus the 100 YouTube listeners. Go to YouTube. What are you doing? But don't do it until after the ad. There's going to be a really interesting secret that we're going to tell you after the ad. So you have to listen all the way through the ad. Also, that's it. I don't have any other plugs.
I was going to say, we have to figure out a way to get these plugs shortened because that's ridiculous.
I mean,
We had one plug, and it took us a very long time to
Yeah.
say.
When
most-
do we ever have one plug?
the plugs that I on the few podcasts I listen to are a good 5 minutes long.
Well,
Well, we don't have
it's interesting
real-
you guys say that because I'm actually planning. I'm really excited about it actually, but I am planning an entire retool of this show. Jeremy's going to hate me throughout the whole entire process.
As if
because
he doesn't
none of
already.
It will be audio focused. It will all be video focused.
Fantastic.
Actually, no. Some of it is
Fantastic.
audio focused because I do want to throw in some music beds throughout the show. I have ideas. We'll talk about them later, but I'm really excited. So stick with the show for a little bit. We're gonna have a much better quality show. Not that I don't love the show we do already, but
But
we're
times
gonna
are
have-
changing and we have to change with them.
We're gonna have a stepped up version of this show coming. I'm very excited about it.
What I think
Jeremy,
would
are
be-
you excited?
I would be if you would talk to me about things when we're not on mic.
Yeah, but that's not how you get legitimate reactions out of people. For example, we had a really great conversation going before this show started. Then we turned on the microphones, and now it's gone.
What were we talking about,
It's
Oliver?
gone. It's gone.
I literally don't remember.
I don't
what
remember
we were
either.
talking
It
about.
had something to
Neither
do
do
with
I.
foursomes, I think.
We were
We're talking about this is the first in-house foursome
Yep.
that you guys have ever had.
This is it. Yeah, we've had 4 people on the podcast
their new
before,
apartment.
but we've never had. In the first foursome in the new apartment.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
in our
for-
beautiful apartment that I've
for
nicely
now.
decorated with my $5.
I was gonna say I love your shot just because it looks so autumny.
Yay.
Look at that reef on the door.
Reef?
Wow. Yeah, reef.
Reef?
Reef.
Reef?
We
Are you
have a
British?
reef on
Like
the
the
door.
clothing
Christopher
company?
Reefs.
Yeah, no, we have a reef. The Great Barrier. actually,
Aretha
right behind me.
Franklin.
Anyway,
Do you have the table runner on hand?
I don't know where Oliver put it.
It's
I think it
over
might be
there.
Oh,
further
it's
back.
over there.
I was gonna
Why?
say because what we pointed out with the movie.
Oh yeah, but we haven't started talking.
Hey,
about
guess
movies.
No, I'm
what?
just saying when we get there.
So we mentioned we were going to Colorado.
Colorado. In just 4 days' time.
Because here's the thing, I've never been, and all the places I wanted to go are on the travel ban list. So I can't go there and quarantine for 2 weeks because I'll lose my job. And if I don't quarantine, they'll fine me $10,000.
What's a job? You're the only real employed person here.
Yeah, what the fuck,
Excuse
Oliver?
you.
I mean, you're
I work.
semi-employed.
I work 1 day a week.
Yeah.
Okay.
You get a paycheck? Because
I mean, it's all direct deposit. So
then I guess I'm direct deposit too. So,
I get a lot of free stuff though. So
but we are going to Colorado, and one of the driving things is the Stanley Hotel, which has prompted us to break out The Shining a little earlier than I would, because I usually wait till October. But dude, I love The Shining so much. And we've now, all of us have watched it in the season now, because you guys just
that's
had
true.
it on.
I just watched it.
We all
2
watched
hours
it like
ago.
just now.
Yeah.
Which is great, because before going to the Stanley Hotel, which is where they filmed the real Shining, and it's in Colorado, I did want to look back on the movie, as well as on Dr. Sleep, which not all of you have
Spoiler-free.
watched yet. So we'll stay spoiler-free on that. But Marco's never seen The Shining before.
Yes, this was my
Yeah.
first time seeing it.
First
I
impressions?
finished about 2 hours ago, right? About 2 hours.
We
ago.
finished
Yeah,
about
whatever.
40 minutes ago.
All right. Well, I'm over exaggerating how long it took to set everything up.
Because
Oh.
he's so sad that it's been this long since he was
I know
watching
my
The
life.
Shining.
There's a massive void.
He
in my
already
life.
misses watching The Shining.
I
Imagine
already
that.
missed
What a
The
guy.
Shining.
I love the concept that somebody misses watching a movie. Like,
Do you know the thought that I
I
had?
missed
This
the
is
time when the DVD was in the movie.
this is irrelevant, but also relevant at the same time. While I was watching The Shining tonight, because I had also watched it yesterday with you, I was thinking about the kid that watched the Beetlejuice musical every single
Oh
day.
my God, that
and then
fucking kid.
And then I also thought to myself, I'm sure there's somebody out there that watches The Shining every single day.
I've been talking about. Let's.
Maybe.
I think I talked about that kid on the first episode of this show. Actually,
Yeah, I
The
think you
kid-
did.
Yeah.
The kid, Marco. I don't know if you know this. The kid saw he had like special needs. And he was very like fixated on the Beetlejuice musical, so his parents had to take him every single day.
So he went to see it on
He
Broadway.
went to see it
On
on Broadway
Broadway.
every
Yeah.
day.
And how is he surviving currently?
I have no idea.
That's what I'm saying, because it's gone. Well, first of all, good for that kid's parents for being able to afford that.
Yeah, right.
But in the
But
child's
also poor them.
in this person's defense, I don't want to say kid because I feel like he's an adult. In this person's defense, what happens to us when we put that soundtrack on?
It's such an earwig.
It is
man.
an earwig. Like there's something wrong with us. Every time we put a song on, it like I sing those songs in my head every day. Like I really feel like Josie and the Pussycats subliminal messaging.
It's
in the
quite
music.
literally like the Seinfeld episode where George gets the
Master of the
Master of the
House.
House stuck in his head. It really
I
is
do
the
know that
same
one.
goddamn situation. It's so fucking catchy.
It is. God, I hope you're ready for a show about
I
death.
have not listened to it yet.
I wonder if they'll bring it back.
I really
they're
hope
not.
they do.
I don't think they're going to. At least not for a while.
Don't
really-
crush my fucking dreams.
I'm
I
not
really
trying
hope
to
they
crush
do,
your
'cause I
dreams.
actually-
I'm merely just talking about the fact that Broadway is essentially dead at this point.
Yeah.
I don't see a lot of things on Broadway. I was actually really interested in seeing that, and then
So was I.
Then this happened. And I'm
I know
very
we were gonna go
upset.
see it in like April, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
like, looking at
we were
April
making
dates.
plans to go see it.
Yeah.
Well, Jeremy's not a Broadway boy, and Jeremy was gonna go.
I know. I wish they would just release it like they released stupid Hamilton.
Yeah, I was like making fun of Broadway the other day.
Didn't we talk
too.
about how much we disliked Hamilton?
We only said it on the way out of a show.
Oh.
Side note, before getting back to The Shining, Hamilton, I don't get it.
I didn't either.
The only person who hasn't voiced this opinion in here is Jeremy. Jeremy, how do you feel about Hamilton?
So I watched the Hamilton.
The Hamilton.
Hey, I took the
we're
kids
sticking.
home.
We're
We
sticking
watched
with the
the
trend of the Shining,
Batman.
the Hamilton.
I got
Not
to the
Batman.
intermission and I stopped watching because I had to go eat dinner with my family, and I never put it back on. Which I will. Which things like that, for me, I feel like always say more than the things I actually say about something. But I had a lot of those heads running in my song for a while. A lot of those songs
those
running in my
heads
head for a
running.
while afterwards.
See, I
you know,
think
I actually, sorry to piggyback on that, Jeremy. I kind of agree with you because I really didn't like the play at all. But there are certain songs, like not all of them, and not nearly
Certain
like close
parts
to all of them.
specifically.
There are certain parts of certain songs that just kind of get stuck in your head. And I also think for me that's perpetuated by TikTok because a lot of the times they use certain clips from.
I got so many Hamilton.
I know.
TikToks.
I have
They use a
never
lot of the
used
same clips. They
TikTok.
use a lot of like the room where it happened, and they use a lot of say no to this, like, you know, and like those things just end up getting stuck in my head. I have no desire to ever watch it again. I believe it was a time suck of 3 hours of my life that I'll never get back. But some of the music is at least catchy. I'm not going to say good. I'll just say catchy.
I have put some of those songs on again though from the first half.
my
mean-
issue with it is First of all, I didn't find any of the music particularly catchy. But
You're not a
I
Jonathan Groff
I must be alone on that because everybody else seems to disagree, even people who like it. I just got very tired of the very Broadway type people, you know, trying to do hip hop and being totally out of breath most of the show. That, first of all, that's like the first thing that irked me. But then secondly, like, I just feel like we got to the end and what was the point, you know? And as far as a show goes, there's absolutely no set design, really. They're just standing on the stage. You know, there's not a lot of like great like dance numbers, which you would think. I have the trailer going on the podcast right now. You'd think that from this that there's a ton of great musical choreography, and there's really not. It's usually just one dude on the stage, and that, like, I hate it. I really don't like it.
Yeah, like it reminds me of when I saw Les Mis on stage, but this was like the 4th revival of it, and they didn't bother making the whole set because they knew it was only going to be like a limited run. So what they did instead was they had the turntable, like the turntable in the middle, kind of like Hamilton does, and then they were just kind of putting people on it with like certain set pieces until you get to the barricade, and then they had a whole barricade. But you're talking about an absolute classic story, classic Broadway that, again, had been revived for the 4th time I saw it in the mid to late 2000s. So think about when it came out versus when I actually saw it. So they have the right to be minimalist like that. I don't think a story like Hamilton,
Brand new show.
really
Well,
has the same right.
Not to be that guy, you know, because I understand my opinion is the minority here, but it's just Les Mis is just stronger stuff.
I agree.
You know? Yeah. Just how I feel about it.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't obviously spoken up too much about Hamilton, but I will plead the Fifth Amendment on that regard.
Because you like the music now. I'm gonna say this, that you really did not like it when we watched it together.
I was not a fan when I was watching it.
Now that could also be the hype, though.
I see, and I was just about to go into that. The theme for me is movies or productions, whether or not they meet the hype, and I think The Shining kind of works really well into that, at least in my situation, having just seen it for the first time, whether or not it meets to the hype.
So
we will discuss
in
later,
other words,
but
Marco's about to break my heart.
I'm not going to break your hype at all. Break your hype. I'm not going to break your heart. Don't go breaking your heart.
Don't go breaking this heart.
I haven't seen Les Mis, but I'll say that I don't really care for the music in that. I know you love Les Mis, and you said that Hamilton doesn't hold a candle to Les Mis, but
my God.
the music has never done a lot for me in Les Mis.
No, I'll agree. I don't really like the music in the movie.
I haven't seen the
You
movie.
mean you don't love Russell Crowe?
Okay. Remove Russell Crowe, because that's
It's
the
great.
thing.
Russell
I'm
Crowe
tired.
is such
No.
an integral part of the story.
Russell Crowe is the main knock.
No. Remove Russell Crowe from it, and everything else is fine.
I agree.
I understand he's a main part.
disagree.
I understand he's a main.
I also disagree.
I understand he's a main part of the play, and I totally get it. And he does ruin Javert. I'm 100% on board with you, but that doesn't mean that the rest of the things that happen and the rest of the performances are shit because of that.
I mean,
Not
I
a big
could
fan of
do
Sacha
without
Baron Cohen either
I could do without
in the
Eddie
movie.
Redmayne, but that's more for personal reasons.
Yeah, fuck Eddie Redmayne, but that's not about the movie. That's about fucking.
I
Eddie
really
Redmayne.
think that Aaron Tveit should have been.
Aaron Tveit
Marius.
should have been.
Yeah.
Well, my issue with the movie, and I understand why he did it, because it's a gimmick that you can tell people that you did after. There was no reason to have them sing in person. Just as a filmmaker,
it harms it
me.
actually a lot, I think.
I think it harms it, but there's also times where it helps it.
Sure, at times, but I think
I don't know.
You just have people like walking and singing. You get like, ugh.
And it's also like, what is the point? Because they did like takes and takes and takes and takes and takes of each shot. It's like, what are you accomplishing? Like, the point of a live performance is that it's a live performance. If you do tons of takes of each moment and take the best parts, it's like you're removing the part of it that is special about it being that.
But I'll also recognize that I grew up listening to Les Mis, and so I want the songs, and this is just a me thing. I mean, nobody, even a recorded version, couldn't have done it, but I want the songs to sound like how I know them.
Right, which isn't the point of doing it again, because
you don't want the same
you
exact
don't want
thing.
the same exact thing over and over
That's
again.
why Lion
I
King
would have been
2019
so happy
is so
with the
bad.
same thing, man. Just for that, but it's different with a movie to a movie, because a movie to a movie is like, well, the first movie's still here.
Have you ever heard Hugh Jackman talk about like what he did for that role? He could have like really hurt himself.
What did Hugh Jack? I don't know this.
He like
that, or is The Greatest Showman?
No, I'm talking about that. He like
With the singing, right?
with this, they said, because like that's the thing, they did like hours and hours and hours of takes, and that's not good on your voice. And he's like, because he like, I'm trying to think of the words because I can't remember the fucking thing that it's called, but like the way he like lost the weight, so he looks fucking ripped in that scene, like very bad for you, and could have destroyed his voice in a way that he couldn't talk right, like for the rest of his life. Nuts. And he's
That's
like,
always crazy
he's like
to
proud
me.
of the things that he put his body through to get that movie to look the way that it does.
But I mean,
And it makes him sound terrible, and he could have really hurt himself, and it's nuts.
I mean, like, I feel like if I were him, I'd be proud of myself for what I did, and I think that he put on a great performance as Jean Valjean.
I think
It is
he's the one in the movie that I like. I'm cool with him.
It is reckless, and he shouldn't be. It's like it shouldn't be a thing of like, look at all that he put himself through, because he really could have hurt himself.
Yeah, but you could argue that with, Christian Bale, what he did.
I was just gonna say Christian Bale.
The fighter, right?
The fighter, the
Fighter, and
Machinist,
then what was the
American
other?
Hustle.
The Machinist,
And
yeah.
you have to think about when Christian Bale does his like weight loss and dramatic weight gain, he's also doing it with no supervision, which is incredibly
That's
dangerous
not good.
because he's going from like eating everything to eating like
Nothing.
3 carrots was the diet for the Machinist. You know that? How fucking nuts is that? He had 3 carrots, and if he got hungry, he would have pistachios. And he's talked about it too. He's like, look, I don't recommend it. And after Vice came out, he's like, I can't do this again. I will actually die.
Yeah. You can even talk about Henry Cavill with The Witcher, where his diet, like, he literally almost dehydrated himself just to get that much more of a pump for like the shirtless scenes, because that's how badly he wanted.
They all do that. Yeah,
And it's insane.
I don't know the body as well as I know the voice, and I know that the things he did could have really harmed his voice.
I wonder if that's
for
why
life.
he needed to get the throat surgery pre-Greatest Showman.
I didn't know he had throat surgery.
I didn't know that either.
There's a pretty famous video of when they're like pitching it to, I think, the producers and stuff, and they had Jeremy Jordan, I believe, singing his songs in front of everyone, and then eventually he jumps in and starts singing it after he literally just had like throat surgery, and it's not the smartest thing in the world, but
No,
yeah,
I didn't know about that.
The power of music, I guess.
You know who's ready for a segue to the next topic.
Do it.
Segway.
You know where the actors really suffered? Shooting The Shining with Stanley Kubrick.
That's true. There was a lot of suffering on that set. I don't know if
Kubrick.
you know about this.
Did you know fucking Shelley Duvall and Scatman Crothers, both of them? Well, Scatman, like, there's a really famous video of him bursting into tears and just going, Stanley, I can't fucking do it anymore. But Shelley Duvall, he was so mean to Shelley Duvall, like borderline abusive on there, because he just kept having her do shit, and she's like out in the snow and shit. And then there's the famous scene where they walk up the stairs. That's like 167 takes or whatever it is.
You said it was like 37 yesterday.
It's a lot. That's the point.
Okay,
And
well,
it's a
37
long
and
shot.
167?
I think it's over 100.
It is over 100 for sure.
I want to say 127, but that is
I'm
because
gonna look it up.
That is because I'm referencing Epic Rap Battles of History, which I don't know if they got the number right, but I
They
know
do
all the
extensive
lyrics.
research on that
they
show, though.
they know their stuff. So.
I know all the lyrics to the Epic Rap Battles of History of that.
Do another
Who
time.
does-
Get it
what
right.
is it?
130,
Is it Kubrick?
67 times.
127 times.
It's Kubrick versus who in that video?
It's well, Kubrick comes in at the end.
127 times.
It's Hitchcock versus
127.
Spielberg.
127,
and
which
then-
is the record for the most takes of a single scene.
I'm sorry, what
Tarantino-
number?
127.
And imagine being Shelley
you go.
Duvall
You already
having
got it
to
right.
scream and shit during that whole thing.
Yeah.
Like Jack Nicholson has it easy because he's really just like walking up there. I mean, but you can tell even in his performance, like, because everybody always talks about how unhinged Jack Nicholson is at the end of the movie.
I mean, he's a pretty
a
unhinged
lot of that's
person,
got to be
as
real.
is. Yeah, he's pretty out there. It's sad to see what's become of him now, but
I every time I hear a celebrity died, I'm always worried that it's Jack Nicholson. It is also sad, like, we're never going to see that guy in another movie again because of the dementia and shit, you know. Yeah, that's sad. But anyways, The Shining. So Marco just watched The Shining for the first time. Shining is one of my favorite movies ever, period. And you just watched it, like, not for the first time, but first time in recent memory. And Jeremy, I don't know how frequently you watch The Shining.
Like before today, I watched it. I've only actually
I
watched
watched
it
it yesterday.
one other time, and it was maybe 2 years ago.
Now, I'll also say, not that I didn't love The Shining before, But just for the sake of conversation, with Dr. Sleep coming out last year and that being, I almost want to say polarizing, but it wasn't, because everybody who saw Dr. Sleep liked it. It was that people refused to go because they're like, no Shining sequel. And it failed pretty hard. But I'll say Dr. Sleep coming out is actually one of the things that got me totally re-energized on The Shining, because before that I was like, all right, maybe it's time to put it back in the box and like leave it for a couple of years. But it remains in the rotation. And now Dr. Sleep is a great addition to that too. I love to like double feature them.
Yeah, I really enjoyed Dr. Sleep, and I hadn't seen The Shining for a while before seeing it. But I actually think that it's funny because when Marco and I were watching it together earlier, he kept kind of asking me questions, and I didn't want to answer them because I feel like the answers really come more in Dr. Sleep as opposed to in The Shining. So I kind of was keeping it ambiguous as much as I could, because when you watch Dr. Sleep, like, strangely enough, you get more background on The Shining than you do, you know what I mean, in the actual Shining.
Well, and the main reason for that is that the Shining book is not as not that it's not ambiguous, but it's not as ambiguous as Stanley Kubrick's The Shining. And Dr. Sleep is based on Stephen King's book, and Stephen King actually worked with the script being written.
So Dr. Sleep is not a separate book?
It's its own sequel.
Okay.
But they did, when Mike Posner's cooler than me. No. What is the guy who anyway, the director of he did Hill House, but he did Dr. Sleep. When he did,
I did not know that.
Yep. When he did Dr. Sleep, he had to reach out to Stephen King and say, listen, I want to do your book, and I know you famously hate the Stanley Kubrick movie because you don't think it's the same thing, and they're not, really.
It absolutely is.
But what Dr. Sleep does is it kind of takes elements from The Shining and makes them less ambiguous, which doesn't sound great. But if you can almost look at it as if it's like a separate thing and say, well, okay, it can mean this, or Stanley Kubrick might have meant something different and Stephen King means something different, and I think that's fun.
Yeah, I mean, I never read The Shining, but I definitely feel like Kubrick had his own things that he wanted to accomplish, but obviously it's his project.
The agenda is so different.
But the agenda is totally different, and he has all these things that he wanted to have in the movie that I feel like, from hearing you and Jeremy talk about the book, are not present in the book. So I just think that, or are just presented in different ways. I just think it's interesting that the book and the movie would have such different agendas and kind of like endings in that way.
No, for sure.
It's funny. I'm not even sure. It's weird. I don't know if Stephen Kubrick even likes the book.
No, Stanley Kubrick.
Or Stanley Kubrick.
Stanley Kubrick actually, I think, has said he didn't like the book.
Well,
and
then
then
I think Stephen King sent him like a screenplay version of it, and Stanley Kubrick was like, "No, your writing sucks. I'm not using this."
And that screenplay wound up being the miniseries, which
Isn't Stephen King
sometimes good and sometimes laughably bad.
Isn't Stephen King like known to not be a very good screenwriter, or is he?
I don't
know.
think Stephen King. I love Stephen King's writing from like I like to read it
From the cocaine standpoint.
Yeah, I don't think Stephen King himself is the best writer around. I think he just pumps out so many ideas that like some of them stick and are like genius. But like the average, like when you take something like Dark Tower, like the first Dark Tower book is awesome. And then you get to like the fifth book and he's inserting himself in the book. He's like, yep, Stephen King must save the world from this person. It's like, you're fucking losing it. And I think a lot of his stuff is like, even like It, I love the book It, but like so many sections in there, like this is a madman. Just
it's a lot.
Just writing
there's
shit
so
down.
much.
I just saw a meme yesterday about the fact that he had the orgy scene in It, and how unnecessary.
Regrettable.
It's not an orgy
Regrettable.
scene. It is a loss of innocence.
It is it's not really an
Do you have you read the book? Do you know the scene?
I do know the scene though.
Literally, all the boys have sex with her.
No,
you
I
can't
know.
tell me it's not an orgy.
Well, the people interpret it
I'll
as
agree
their
with
loss of
Oliver that
innocence.
sounds more like a gangbang than an orgy to me. If they're not having sex with each other, then it's not necessarily an orgy.
Whatever, fine.
Yeah, I can see your point
both
on
of
that,
them
but-
somewhat unnecessary for a movie, a book about kids.
Yeah, agreed.
But point being, I think part of that, his whole thing is that he's so attached to his writing, and I think he wasn't able to look at Stanley Kubrick's movie and say, not even that it's better, but that it was good because it was different, you know? And there's a very famous Easter egg in the Shining movie that in the book, Jack Torrance drives a yellow buggy, and in the movie, the buggy is red. But when Dick Halloran is driving to the Overlook Hotel, he passes a car wreck, and the car in the wreck
Was it a car or was it a truck?
A truck crashed into a car, and the car in the wreck is a yellow buggy. So people say that that's him saying like, nope, I'm taking your story off the road. I'm going nuts with it.
This is
and
my
yours
road
is just a train wreck.
I'm the captain now.
I'm the captain now. I think there's so much more to unpack with Stanley Kubrick's movie than there is with The Shining book. I think it's fun even to watch it even without Dr. Sleep and just leave some of these things ambiguous. Not that I don't love Dr. Sleep coming in, but I almost think of it as if it's a separate narrative.
Sure.
But all that, I also think the first watch on The Shining is very different than the fourth or fifth watch. Because I think a lot of the Easter eggs in it probably go over your head at first.
I mean, there are things that you guys have been talking about, not on record yet. And I'm sitting there and I'm just like, I did not catch that at all.
Well, so hit me.
So there will be a lot that you will be explaining to me in this podcast.
Hit me with your review. First thought. We just got in the car. We saw the movie.
We just got in the car.
The phone just fell off of the radiator.
See, it's funny. So I had just watched The Lighthouse for the first time yesterday.
That's a whole other story.
It's a whole other story, but as what I said before is whether or not things are meeting the hype. I feel like The Shining is just one of those movies that people always rave about or always speaking so highly about. I didn't dislike it. I think the last 30 minutes of the movie is easily the best part of the movie. I think prior to that, I was kind of like, all right, this is kind of just whatever. I think that last half hour or so definitely kicks it up a notch for sure. But as far as am I gonna rewatch it, I might after I know a little bit more about it.
So the thing with The Shining really is that, like, when I first watched The Shining, it had also been very overhyped to me. And I don't think that it was my favorite movie the first time I saw it. And it's really only like recently that like I'll be sitting down watching it and going, there's so many fucking levels to this fucking thing. And I think it also helps, like, not that I think a lot of the theories are even true per se, but to listen to how people talk about this movie and what you can get out of it, because it's a fairly simple movie. Guy goes to hotel, goes nuts, but the amount of shit that people get out of it, I think there's something to say for that and the amount of merit that has.
Yeah, I can agree with that to an extent, but I do think there may be some stuff that's a little too out there.
I've criticized more recent movies that have come out for being too ambiguous and then making you draw your own conclusions afterwards to look at The Shining and be like, oh no, I it's okay. But like when you were telling me all the things yesterday that while I was watching it, it's like, yeah, I can see where you're coming from, but at the same time, like you can draw connections wherever you want there to be connections. You know what I mean? Like it's not hard to do if you want there to be some sort of meaning to what you're saying. And
certain things to what, people have said about The Shining. Like there's the very famous moon landing theory, which let's see if Marco picked up.
No, he didn't.
Marco, do you think that The Shining is about Stanley Kubrick filming the moon landing?
So I said this while we were watching it, and I noticed the Apollo 11 sweater. Yep. And I was like, oh, okay. And then that was when Brittany then told me the theory. And what I don't understand is how does that make any sense? So the theory is that Kubrick directed the fake lunar landing. Am I correct with that?
Yes.
So why would he put into his movie alluding to the fact that he did that?
I'm sorry, Jeremy, go ahead.
I mean, you have to assume that it is not his choice to keep it a secret, and he's kind of like he's leaving clues for the smart people to figure it out, because he's like I believe he's like, I can't live with this secret, so I need to,
Okay, I can understand that then. But now, I definitely did not pick up on that. What are there any other notions other than the sweater?
Well, the interesting thing about so when they go into room 237, right? The letters on the key And now, I don't believe that this theory is true. I'll throw that out there right now. I just think it's interesting how people say it.
Oh, we landed on the moon, guys.
Well,
Like,
no,
sorry to
first
break
of
it
all,
to
I
you.
think even the guys who say that he directed it say that we landed on the moon. We just did it later, which I think we landed on the moon when they say we did. I'm just saying that's not the most outrageous thing I've ever heard.
I mean, there is
a
a whole Even Stevens episode about it. So
We went to the moon in 1969. Not 1968, but the year after.
Yeah, I don't think that's an outrageous thing to say. I don't believe it's true necessarily. But anyways, when they go into room 237,
just a quick spoiler warning in case you haven't seen this movie.
If you haven't seen The Shining,
if you haven't seen The Shining, it's been out for 40 years.
Yeah, I was gonna say if you haven't,
it is
you shouldn't be listening to
Crack
this if
it
you
out.
haven't watched the movie.
But the letters on the key, I don't even remember what it says per se, but the letters on the key apparently can be rearranged to say Moon Room.
You mean Mr. Rude?
Yeah, Mr. Rude.
They can be rearranged to say Mr. Rude,
Red
foreshadowing
Rum can say Mr. Rude.
I love that fucking video. Mr. Rude. No, so what people say is that him going into room 237 and what disturbs him in there is the truth about the moon landing. But what's really nuts about this goddamn theory is that the guy who came up with it wrote like 3 books about it.
It just says room number. It just says room number 237.
Apparently, people. I don't know the full scope of it. If you look
I'm looking at it right now, it just says room number 237.
Watch the 237 documentary. They got it obviously better tthan I because the real guy is talking about it. The guy who wrote the theory has like 3 books and is dead set convinced that the government is out to get him because they keep auditing him. So there's a whole section in that Shining documentary that goes, well, they're not going to be happy with the next book. I'll get audited again. I don't feel like that's what the government would do if you were giving out secrets.
No, the government would definitely do much more than that.
No, because if they kill him, then everyone, you're basically saying he's right.
For sure.
Yeah, but there are
He
definitely
could kill
ways.
himself.
He could kill himself.
There are
you're
definitely
right.
ways for him to accidentally slip and fall on a bullet. It happens.
The only real Shining theory that I 100% subscribe to is that, and there are other ones that I think are valid, like if there being undertones of Native American violence. That's real. That's in the movie. That's not even a theory. But there's the theory that Jack is molesting Danny throughout the whole movie. Did you get any of that?
I only picked up on it after being told about it, and even then still didn't really connect the dots on that one.
Marco, mention the discrepancy because maybe Oliver has some insight.
So, when Wendy is speaking to the doctor, she talks about how when
Danny
Jack was
got
drunk, he pulls Danny too hard,
and dislocates his
right,
shoulder.
and dislocates his shoulder, and then she says that 5 months since then, right, he hasn't drank because that was like kind of the climax of everything, his drinking, correct? So when Jack is talking to the bartender,
It's just 6 months.
Lloyd,
he says
3 years.
3 years.
Yeah.
So I was really kind of trying to understand that and the differences and the discrepancy with that. So
that
maybe,
one I don't know so much, but
he also says 5 months wasted, not like being 5 months wasted by being sober. So
so maybe he did. Well, I think that feeds into the theory that Jack frequently attacks and molests Danny. So maybe the big incident with Danny wasn't even the shoulder popping. Maybe he did something else to him.
That's what I'm trying to understand. So maybe by him saying 3 years, maybe there's something else that we do not know about 3 years ago.
Right, because the way he says it makes you think that he's talking about the shoulder thing because he says, "Oh, that bitch," meaning his wife.
She keeps bringing it up.
Won't let me forget it. But at the same time, then he goes, "It was 3 years ago." But he just said, a minute and a half before that,
5 months.
Oh, it's 5 months that I've been sober, and she says that he's been sober for 5 months because of the accident. Or the abuse, however you want to prose it. But, I just think that it's interesting because then what happened 3 years ago?
I think he's very clearly a serial abuser.
Yeah.
I
but
agree.
another interesting thing, like along the same lines, is that in The Shining, a lot of times the timelines don't quite line up. With the McGrady twins, who are clearly twin sisters. Yeah,
The Grady
just the
twins.
Grady
He
twins,
says,
not
they
Grady.
were 6 and 8, I believe.
He says they were 6 and 8 at the beginning of the movie, but then we see them in their twins,
Mm-hmm.
and I believe Delbert Grady even says they're a different age.
Yeah.
So that a lot of it is clearly intentional on how he's rearranging details so you can't quite follow.
That is one thing that I mentioned to Britt, and I was like, this movie, as far as the continuity, is really all over the place. And she said that a lot of it may or may not have been on purpose.
I think he
I
definitely.
believe may. I don't think there's a may not be on purpose there.
Yeah.
I think he definitely moves things around in the shot. Like the famous one is the chair behind Jack Nicholson when he's yelling at Wendy for the first time. Is there in one shot and then it's gone in another shot. So a lot of people say that he moves stuff around to kind of disorient you. So all the things you know should be there are just gone. And even more on purpose is that people have tried to lay out the hotel. And the architecture of it doesn't make sense. So there's a window in an office that would be facing a hallway. The doors move around in different shots so that like it really would be placed here, but then later it's placed over here. And even Danny riding on the trike is to establish what the layout of the floor is. But later when Shelley Duvall is running around on that floor, none of it follows what Danny did. She's not running in a square. She's running zigzagged throughout the bottom floor.
Another thing that I found myself wondering, speaking to piggyback off like the off-putting, the off-putting feeling of certain things. I also felt that there was definitely some scenes as far as dialogue delivery that I wasn't sure if it was supposed to be off-putting or if it was just some really bad acting by the lesser characters. There were definitely some scenes where, like, I think even the conversation that Shelley Duvall was having
with the doctor?
No, the first when she's on the CB radio with the Forest Service.
Yeah.
And that conversation, I'm just sitting there and I'm just like, it literally sounds like the both of them are just reading off of a teleprompter and they're not very good at it.
Yeah, that I almost chalk up to like 80s syndrome. A lot of movies that came out at the time just were like that. I don't know why. But again, there's so much in this movie that's like on purpose, but not. One good one that I just picked up, I had no idea about this before, but when he goes to the job interview, they show him sitting down, like reading a magazine when like he's waiting right after he calls Wendy on the phone. He's in the lobby and he's doing it. And his boss walks over to him and he puts the magazine down and you see the cover. And first of all, like you can tell in the movie that it's a porno mag, which is already like, well, why are you reading a porno mag at your job interview? But on top of that, people have grabbed the cover. It's a Playgirl magazine. It's not even a Playboy. It's a Playgirl. And one of the first articles listed on it is about incest and like why parents sleep with their children, which has to be intentionally placed. And then people have pointed to Room 237. There's the very intentional pan on the bed. And that Danny goes in there. You don't see what happens, but clearly he's been traumatized. And then that's when Jack really starts to lose his shit. And he goes in there and you have no confirmation on if that's real or if that's not real.
Yeah, I was just going to ask, like, what other evidence of the sexual abuse is there in the movie? Because I didn't really pick up on it.
And there's a lot of stuff about, well, he must have done it. Just a lot of things are phrased like a sexual abuser would say about their victim. Like the scars on his neck are all about like, he goes, oh, well, he did that to himself, stuff like that. The bear man is supposed to be symbolic of a child and a grown man.
So the bear is the grown man?
The bear is the child.
The bear is the child.
Yes.
Okay.
That's
I did not pick up on that at all.
So that one, they say it's his mouth. He's got a mouthpiece, so him giving oral sex to that guy would be impossible or not right. And then the bear costume is supposed to like symbolize being childish and but it's also a take because there's a man in a dog costume in the book. There's not a bear costume, but the guy in the dog costume, Jeremy, if I'm wrong, correct me, but I believe he chases somebody with a knife.
I don't remember that detail.
But so. Anyways, a lot of weird shit with The Shining. I think it's definitely one of those movies, though. And again, who the fuck am I to say it like everybody fucking knows? But it's definitely one of those movies that you can revisit a bunch of times and be like, well, this is that and this is that. And I think it changes how you watch it.
But you know where you shouldn't revisit it? In the middle of Ready Player One, when it has no relevance.
Please just don't bring that movie up. It is literally, for those of you that obviously do not know, that is pretty much my favorite book, and I absolutely hate the movie with a burning, fiery passion.
It's your favorite book?
It is one of my favorite books, yeah.
Okay.
And I'm not a very well-read person as far as books go. I don't have like the attention span for it, and audiobooks are easier for me, but I distinctly remember I have never walked out of a movie before, and that I came very close during that movie. I literally watched Jumanji with like a fever, and I mean, obviously that's a great movie. The newer Jumanji, I guess Jumanji 2. Jumanji, yeah.
And then there was Jumanji 3.
Yeah, Jumanji 3.
And then Zathura, the second cousin twice removed. Like, but yeah, like I will go through pretty extreme things to watch movies, and I really wanted to walk out during that movie.
You know, that has always felt very shoehorned to me, because I also think that it's a case of like them actively trying to shove as many Easter eggs in there.
That is very much the point of that movie.
But almost to the point, like with the whole Shining segment, I feel like they didn't get what any of them meant. It was just like, oh, people know the blood in the elevator, and people know the naked lady in the bathtub.
The lady in the elevator. Yeah.
But I don't think they understood what any of them really were. Because even like how jarring it is that like the hotel elevator blood just kind of comes out and is scary. And in the fucking Ready Player One, they're like floating away on that shit.
Yeah, it was like an anti-grav blood coming out of the elevator.
I don't know, man. You know what's crazy is like how long, we were talking about this the other night, how long has it been since Steven Spielberg really has made a good movie?
Yeah, we were talking about that after we saw Tenet, and we literally went through all of the movies that he's directed, and it's definitely been a while since he's really put out a top quality, like, great movie. What was the one that we
I like
was like his
Bridge
last
of
really
Spies,
good one?
But a lot of other people didn't.
Mm-hmm.
It was Catch Me If You Can.
Catch Me If You Can, yes.
Which
that
was
the
in
last.
the early 2000s. So
yeah, because I mentioned The Terminal, which I personally really love.
I like The Terminal as
do not
well.
Like that movie.
But it's been a long time since he's even put out like a well-received movie that like I liked. Like The Post was well-received. Do you guys remember when we saw The Post, Jeremy?
I do.
I couldn't tell you anything about what happens in it, but I do remember going to see it.
And I remember, like,
the most striking thing is I didn't understand why the movie was about The Post. Like, do you remember that?
What is that movie about again?
It's about the New York Post.
I thought it was the Washington Post.
Washington Post, but isn't it about them like breaking some?
Yeah, it's about
news?
them breaking something about the president. I think it was Watergate, wasn't it?
I believe it was Watergate.
I think it was Watergate.
No. Watergate comes in it. That's like one of the things that like I hate the most about the goddamn movie is the like main plot wraps up, and then as if it's a goddamn superhero movie, they go like somebody walks into Tom Hanks's office and goes, "We just got news about Nixon," and then it shows the White House and Nixon is sitting in a chair with a tape recorder. I swear to God, this is in the goddamn movie, with a tape recorder, and it pans backwards like he's a supervillain sitting in the Oval Office through the window, and that's the end of the movie.
It's about, and I don't want to say details and be wrong, but it is about. The government was hiding details about a war, and the details got leaked, and a newspaper got those details and started publishing the details. And the government was like, hey, you can't do that. Those are government secrets. And then the newspaper was like, well, what the fuck? Freedom of press. We have the people have a right to know things like this. We have a right to do these things, and it got to the Supreme Court. And then the Washington Post gets a hold of the details and goes, oh, should we also release these details even though the case is not resolved about it yet? Should we stand with them and also post release these details?
They weren't even the ones who broke the story?
Yeah, they weren't. Do you remember that?
Dude, I feel
very
so
different
bad
than what I
it's
thought
like,
the movie was about.
It's such an Oscar baiting movie, and I get that. but like I felt like as an intelligent person, I should have at least been able to understand what was happening, because it's not very like it's not like hard shit. It's just the movie's so fucking boring, man.
I've totally even tuned out whatever the fuck you guys were just talking about, because I just have no interest whatsoever. It just
I don't.
is so
I don't think I'm in a
boring.
rush to see that movie
I did not
anytime soon.
need to watch a movie about it, and you didn't need to waste Tom Hanks or Meryl Streep.
It was the Vietnam War. I thought it was, but I didn't want to be wrong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would make
Yeah.
sense with Nixon being towards the end of it.
The Pentagon Papers, if anybody is actually familiar with the story but hasn't
Nope.
seen the movie.
Well, the thing is, it seems like a very interesting story. I don't know why one of the best filmmakers working in Hollywood and like two of the most critically acclaimed actors ever of all time couldn't make it interesting.
Yep. Well,
Wait, who else besides
It got
Tom
leaked
Hanks?
to the Times
Streep.
first. It got leaked to the Times
Debatable.
before the Post got it. The
Well,
Times
most famous.
broke the story.
All right, Jeremy, history lesson. Hit me. What happened next?
And then
That's
we'll
it.
talk about Spotlight after this.
I'm not reading a Wikipedia page on the podcast
You guys
anymore.
want to talk about First Man? You want to
No.
go down that route? I can go.
Continue,
know what's funny about
Continue,
First
Jeremy.
Is
That's
when,
it. I have nothing else to say.
when we were
Don't-
doing our worst of 2018, one of the things that we did in those videos is we grabbed title card. No, we had a bit because all three of us had First Man on the list very high. You two had it as number one, and and I had it as number two. But one of us had something where we needed the credits of First Man to like roll in the video. And obviously when we did the movie, it wasn't out on DVD where it could be ripped in any way, you know? So I went online and I just Googled First Man credits. And the only video I could find was these two guys holding a camera, like a bootleg in First Man. And it was just the credits rolling. So you see the credits go up and one of them goes, and the other guy goes, what even happened? And it's just them for like 2 minutes going, I'm so sore from sitting through that. And then it ends.
I had a very nice nap in that.
Yeah,
movie.
I still have not yet bothered to see that movie, and
I
I
just
just not
remember
going
it,
to.
it was really bad.
And it's funny because I do love space epic movies.
It's not a space. They only
all
go to
do.
space
That's
at
the
the
thing.
end, and then it's just the moon just looks like dirt.
Even like Ad Astra was
Oh my god!
definitely
Don't
a
even fucking get me
letdown.
started on that.
I mean,
Astra.
I would watch
I
Ad
was so
Astra
excited for
20
that.
times before I watched First Man
The
again.
Yeah,
thing
that makes
in
sense.
Ad Astra, there's definitely a good movie there. It's just like bogged down.
There's
by
a great
all this other
world.
shit.
There's a great world
Oh,
there.
yeah.
I remember remembering a lot of
like the
specific
whole
things about the
thing-
world building there.
The whole thing with him getting to wherever he's going, and they have to stop on the moon, and that
Right, and they
that
had
was
that like
great.
chase and
That's
you know,
like one of the best
there
parts
is
of the movie.
commercial space flight in there, and then he's going off on an even farther mission. That
great.
setup was for a much better movie. I'm convinced. It's funny because like that's always when I think about Ad Astra, it's like that's always what I worry about with science fiction is they come out with these like very like grabby like descriptions. So when movies like Tenet come out, I like have to take a step back and go, is this gonna be another Ad Astra?
Oh no, I had full belief in Tenet.
Oh, I
being a
thought
good
Tenet
movie.
was going to be good, but there's always that thing in the back of my mind where I'm like,
I have full belief in anything Christopher Nolan does.
yeah, but Tenet
Nolan
was
is
fucking
love.
dope.
Nolan is life.
I
pretty
think
good.
I
It's
think
pretty
Tenet
good.
is the best Nolan movie that I've seen probably.
Better than Inception?
Excuse me, better than Interstellar
It's better
and
than
Inception.
Interstellar for sure.
Hush your mouth.
I think it's on par with Inception. I think Inception probably has a little more entertainment value, but I think that Tenet is a smarter and better.
I don't know if I would use smarter. Not that I think either movie is not smart, but I think Tenet in a way is being people are claiming that it's smart. Not that it's not smart, but some people may be claiming that it's smarter than it is because they don't immediately get it. Where Inception is still a smart movie. It's just that you understand it all the way through because it can explain it to you. Tenet takes a couple
That's
times.
just it. A lot of
to
people
get it.
didn't understand Inception when it came out, though.
It's funny. I think last time we all four podcasted together, we talked about what our favorite Nolan movies were.
We did. We
then,
talked
too.
about Tenet.
Yeah, we did because the trailer it just came out.
Yeah, the trailer just came out.
I know, Jeremy, you haven't seen it. I'm trying not to spoil.
No, we're
but
not. We haven't really said much. I do think though Inception and Tenet are more closely correlated
than Interstellar
in
for
comparison.
And
yeah.
my favorite is Memento.
No, Memento is a great movie too.
Memento is a great movie, and if you like Memento, you'll definitely like Tenet because there are some similarities
structurally. Yes.
Structurally.
I literally midway through the movie, I was like, oh, so this is like Memento, but not in the way you may think.
Yeah, it's. You know what I just watched with him
means
is that
nothing to me.
Exactly.
And I was actually a little disappointed recently because I thought I had seen all of Nolan's movies, and then somebody was like,
You didn't
"Hey,
see his first movie,
Following," and I was like, "I've never even heard of Following." He made it. First of all, he made the goddamn movie when he was like my age, which is always nuts to think about. But yeah, I watched Following. I was really excited about it, and it's not bad. But I'm so spoiled by current Christopher Nolan. It's like it's just not as highbrow. Like I guessed the twist right away. But the interesting thing is two like things. Firstly, I think it's laid a lot of groundwork for Memento, but also the main character's name is Cobb, and the bad guy's name, the bad guy's name is the young man, which I think is very similar
Cobbs and
to the
Shaw.
protagonist.
And also the same thing with the names happens in Tenet as well, because one of the characters in this movie has the same name as one of the characters in Inception, which I think is interesting.
Maybe Christopher Nolan only names people after guys.
Christopher
he
Nolan
knows.
only knows 10 guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, he only names people
I've
after his friends.
I've always said this about naming characters is that I don't like to name characters after people that I know, but the problem is that that's how I know names is by knowing people.
Oh my God, Jeremy and I we're writing a new project right now, and
I know
we were
you asked me
here.
what I wanted my name to be, and I literally could not think of anything. I was like, what the fuck do I want my name to
You
be?
thought of a name the quickest though.
Oh, okay.
Because Jeremy and I were sitting here just trying to write through this script, and we kept getting stuck adding new characters. We're like, well, what about this name? And Jerry go, no, I know that person.
I'm
And I'd
good
be
with
like,
other people's
can't.
names. I'm not good with myself. Like, 'cause
There-
I feel like the structure of my name is so like integral to who I am as a person that like I feel like if I'm gonna be something, it has to be similar to my own name.
There are names I cannot name characters certain things because the people that actually have those names are too important to me.
I'm still waiting for your text on what you want my character in this so-called project to be named after. I guess I'm not in it.
You can be in it.
What do you want to name? Pick a name.
You're just the police officer. Oh well. Oh, that's the old
No,
one.
that's
No, that's
that's
different.
Pick a name.
Oh, God, we gotta refill it. Yeah,
So, like,
Marco, quick name.
Just a
name.
complete different name for myself.
Toss
For me as-
3 names out.
For
there.
me
Yeah,
as
give
a
us 3
person.
names.
Yeah,
and
give
we'll
us some
vote.
options. Give us 3 names.
See, now we're putting you on the spot.
What
They're
about?
all
Yeah, isn't it
police
hard to come up
officer
with
names.
names?
So wait, so am I naming myself?
You're
something
naming
different?
yourself,
Naming-
and we're gonna vote.
There's already a character named Mark, so you can't.
Yeah, you
copy
can't
I
Mark.
wasn't gonna do Mark. I would
My
definitely not
character's
do
name is
Mark.
That's
Mark.
Mark.
You're Mark. You're
Marcus.
Tom, and I'm Jamie.
I mean, I can just do names I like.
You
Yeah.
also can't do Ben.
I wasn't gonna do Ben.
Do we have a character
I
named
really
Ben?
like.
Oh,
Don't you fucking
spoilers.
say that. Ben Mandel.
Oh, Ben Mandel. Oh no, we
Our
can't.
fav-
Howie
we can't
Mandel?
talk about him though.
Any relation to Howie Mandel? or-
No.
No.
You'll see. This is the best character I've ever put in a script
All right.
in my whole life.
I want your names. Come on.
Okay, so as far as boy names that I've always liked, you're probably gonna hate the first one, but it is from a movie that probably none of you really like to the same level I do. Gunner. I like Gunner.
Okay.
Gunner.
Um,
Okay.
I've always kind of liked the name Lucas as well,
Okay.
but instead of Lucas, I'm gonna change it to a different L name, because it doesn't work well with my last name, which is Leonardo in any type of form. Leonardo, Leo, Lenny, anything, Leon, anything to that level.
Yeah,
Okay.
not a lot of Leonardo Bernardos walking around. out
Yeah,
there.
I don't think there's a. Oh,
Excuse
wow.
you.
Doxing. Doxing.
Your name's already on IMDb. I have this information already.
It's true, I am. And if you do a quick Google search, you could find everything about
Give
it.
us a third name. So we've got Gunner.
Third name.
Give us a third
are
name
you
and then your
picking
social
Gunner?
security number.
Are you
Gunner,
picking Lucas
some-
or Leo? I'm so confused. You have to pick one.
So instead of Lucas, I'm going with Leo.
Okay.
Okay.
Gunner, some version of Leonardo.
Yeah, some version of Leonardo, Leo, Leon, something like that. It's tough. I'm gonna go with like a bro name, all right? And it's not gonna be Chad. It's gonna be very similar. It's gonna be very similar to Chad.
I can't
It's
name
It's not
you
Chad.
Chad.
It's not Chad.
It's
gonna be
It's not
I
Chad.
will not name you Chad.
It is not Chad. I'm gonna go with Cole.
Cole.
Okay.
Cole.
So we have Cole.
It's weird. I
some-
like Lucas a lot.
Some version.
Lucas, I like.
You know what?
I really
if you
did
really
like
want to
Lucas a
use
lot.
No,
it, you
I
can
like.
use it,
I
but
actually like Lenny. That was what I was gonna throw in my hat for.
Lenny's
I like
also
Lenny.
very good. I
Lenny
like the
is
L
a
names the
character's
best for
name
you.
in my all-time favorite movie. So
Right. I like Lenny.
I did like the L names best on you. Maybe just like L names.
What do you want to be? Everybody else is pretty much an exaggerated version. Well, you're a different character than yourself.
I mean, no offense, but I kind of
But-
am an exaggerated person of myself. So
Yeah. Me too.
Sometimes I do feel like a
you have
caricature of
full
myself.
creative freedom for my character.
Oh, we're on a
Just
episode
don't
4
make
slump
him-
at the moment, but
Don't make him
that's true.
anything like don't make him like a fucking pedo or a rapist or anything.
Full
there's
creative
all
freedom, my
ideas.
friend.
Nothing illegal. That's not at least nothing that's not fun.
I'm
illegal.
throwing my vote in for Lenny.
I get down with Lenny.
I could do Lenny.
All right.
Perfect.
All right, Lenny.
Lenny it
Love
is.
it.
Lenny, and you don't have a last name.
No.
You know what I
None
always
of the
think about
only
with
one
Lenny?
character has a last name in
Lobster.
our show, and it's
What was the last name?
You could just
Oh,
make
That you
Oh my God.
again.
you could give me
Again.
you could give me a last initial. You could just go Lenny B.
I think I have a last name now because I had a dinner reservation.
Lenny B, that is a good name.
There's a dinner scene. Uh-oh.
I'm not just gonna say, but Lenny B is a very definitely rolls off the tongue pretty well.
Lenny B. Maybe he's got a mixtape.
I am still trying to decide what I want my design company to be called. I don't want it to just be a sticker company because really they could be prints or commissions or logos, whatever you want them to be. So I'm kind of torn between two different names. The boys all seem to like one name. I seem to like another one. So I'm going to make
give
logos.
them all the names.
No, I don't want to throw them
No,
all
you
out
don't want to
there.
throw them all out. Okay.
I'm going to make logos. I'm actually not going to say either of them. I'm going to make logos for both
I think
of
that's
them.
smart.
Yeah. I'm going to make logos for both of them and see which logo I like best. I'm going to work on them both because
I think
do like both
that's
of
a
them.
good fair way to do
Yeah.
it.
And
And
then I'll see
next
which one I
time
think
we
looks
do a
best.
podcast, maybe shoot me over some artwork on
Yeah.
Facebook and we can throw it up.
Absolutely. You don't want to
Maybe
just
even a
you don't want
promo
to just
code.
look at my stickers?
I do. I would like to look at your stickers.
We just like to throw them up so that the audience can.
No, I know.
Somehow
And
between the beginning of this episode and the end of it, I think I lost the sticker.
it's
that you
okay.
gave
I'll
me of
give
the
you another
cat,
one. Not a
and I'm
problem
very
because I'm
Probably
sure
somewhere
I'm
in
sure
the
I'll
couch.
find it. I also have another one coming in that I did of my friend Gabriella when she was in
Oh,
Italy.
you made stickers of that?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I only made them this week, but they haven't come in yet. But and they look like stamps, so I'm actually really cool to get those in because I think they'll look really cool.
Yeah, I think those could definitely work really well.
Yeah,
as
I
a
think they'll look
stamp.
really nice on like a laptop or like a notebook or something along those lines. Yeah, so I'm excited for it.
I'm excited too.
Yeah. And if you're listening to this and for some reason wants me to make some sort of design for you, I am 100% available to do that because I don't have a job. So yeah.
I'm also 100% available, but for things other than designing.
Yep, I can't. Draw?
I'm only like.
You could probably draw if you use this
Well,
program.
let's
to
be honest. At this
totally
point, I'm
with
only
you.
like 10% available.
I'm gonna let you play
Which
with
one
it
do you
before
use
you
again?
leave. Procreate.
Procreate.
Yeah.
I think
Title of your
I'm
sex tape?
familiar with it actually.
Okay.
I've never used it, but I've like seen people use
You
it.
said I'm going to let you play with it before you leave, and I said title of your sex tape.
Yep.
I hate to steal that that line from Brooklyn Nine-Nine, but you could also say phrasing similar to Archer. But yeah,
I think
that's
this
what she
is.
said.
Did you
Yeah,
guys
it's
hear?
been all right, never
fucking
mind. You can
Archer
go. You
is
can keep
coming
talking
out of the
about show.
coma.
is he finally?
He's coming out of the coma. I might actually watch Archer this season.
Yeah, I really have been kind of whatever on the last.
Speaking
couple
of comas,
seasons.
I guess we'll table you talking about you.
Yeah. Well.
That's
Hey,
fine.
Jeremy.
Maybe in another episode. I'll talk about
check
I'll
out
watch the show.
check
I
out
was gonna
you.
say because I haven't
maybe.
seen it, so you guys can freely talk about it because the three of you have all seen it,
Nope.
correct? No, you
Jeremy's
haven't
not seen it.
Oh, you
so
haven't.
maybe
Okay.
maybe Jeremy will watch it and then we'll talk about it. All right.
Maybe Jeremy. Maybe Oliver can talk about you while I talk about a different show that Oliver hasn't seen at the exact same time.
Maybe we'll compare them episode by episode.
And I'll talk about Riverdale because neither of you have
Look,
watched those.
all right, so this
you
is
go.
the show we'll go from episode we'll take the same number of each show, so whatever has the least number of
Can
episodes.
we wait?
And we'll review each episode back to back and compare it to the other shows.
How about this? So what we'll do is that you'll review the first episode. You'll review and give a synopsis of the first episode of You, and I will give a review and synopsis of the second episode of a different show, and we'll pretend like it's the second episode of You.
but
and
we
we'll just go in a
won't
circle like
say
that
that
during
we're
the whole
talking
show.
about three different
like-
shows. We'll
it's
make
like-
up a
Yeah.
name.
So it's like the Whose Line Is It Anyway party game where you're all singing a song one word at a time, but only it's one episode at a time.
Except that the audience will not know that we're playing a game. They'll think that we're all reviewing a show, the same show.
You should just like.
But if anybody pays attention, they'll be like, "Wait, they're talking about you."
Or if they've seen the shows that we're talking about.
Well,
Yes,
I guess that's what I meant by paying attention. But you're right.
You should just try to name it by combining all the names of the show.
I'm going to name this the end of the show because I'm sweating and I want to put the air conditioner on.
Yes, please.
do that.
I
Let's
am
end the
also
show.
All
dying.
right, kids, hold on. Wait a minute.
I'm waiting.
Everybody, wait.
We're
waiting.
waiting.
And okay, and 1, 2, squiggly do. All right, let's end the show, Jeremy.
Yeah, we could end the show.
All right. Let's wait, Marco. If you were gonna end, he gets the question a second time. Let's see if he remembers
I
the
get
answer.
a second question.
Let's
If
see if you
you-
remember this answer.
If you were to end the show, how would you end it?
Did I answer that last time?
This is
We
a
always
question-
ask it of our guests without
this is
warning.
My favorite question to ask all the guests is to end the show.
Because it's how you
in their
catch
own
people
unique
not
way.
watching the whole podcast.
I'm gonna go with. Should we end it on a question? Make it like
We
real,
can end it on the question.
real mysterious.
I mean, if that's how you want to end the podcast.
How do you feel like the podcast
Yeah.
should end?
You're in charge right now, Marco. End the show.
But make sure it's the same as what we do every week.
I don't know what it is every week.
No, you're in charge right now, Marco. I want you to end the show. I want you to do
I'm
what
gonna
you-
end
I
it
wanna do
with
your
a
thing.
question. There's a comment section on YouTube, so people can technically answer this
Sure, yeah.
question. Correct?
Or they could just.
I'll just read out Oliver's address right
call
here, and you
me.
can mail in your answers.
It's mailing your answers to www. I can't believe you're writing this down.com. I'm going to end it with I'm going to go generic here because it is essentially almost spoopy time. I'm going to go with what is your favorite Stephen King book?
What is your favorite Stephen King book?
Mine is
That's a good
that
question.
one that goes. You open it and it's the last page and it says "Good riddance to you."
Good riddance to you.
Good riddance to you.
Good riddance to you.
You figured it out.
Yeah, you got there.